Hey folks, I just wanted to show my my worm farm system that I've got going on. I use my vermicompost to set up the wicking beds over in my greenhouse that you've seen a number of times. So what I have are two systems, two bins basically set up. Each setup consists of two bins. This here is the lower bin. This bin, the sole purpose of this bin is to catch liquid that falls from the bin that sits on top of it. I just emptied this bin. I took the the liquid that comes out of it's called leachate, and I just emptied it into this bucket over here. I'll get back to that in a minute. So in this bin I have this ring that I cut this from a 5-gallon drum of I don't remember what it was, but anyway, I cleaned it out, cut that off, and all that does is it serves as a base for the actual worm bin, which sits on top, which I'm going to move over right now. And since I can't do this with both hands, you're probably going to see the floor or something in a minute. So I just move this over. Okay, so now this is what the normal setup is. The worm bin on top. The worm bin is covered by a lid. These are just Tupperware containers. On the top of my lid I have a number of 1/8 inch diameter holes, just enough to get enough air in there to keep the system aerobic. And on the bottom of this bin there are a few holes as well, drilled to allow the leachate to fall into the bin below it. So if you want to dig around here and see what's going on, these things you see here are seeds that sprouted that were in there. But here you can see the worms in there, plenty of them. Just dig around here some more. You can see them there. I mean, it's a pretty good. There you go. Now this bin has, I normally don't put plant clippings in my worm bins, but I did in this one just to see how long it would take them to decompose. But normally I only put kitchen scraps in my bins, and those don't take long to get turned into vermicompost. So here, anyway, what I do, I usually feed my worms once a week, because I live in the city and I have the worms. These bins are at the farm where I come on usually every weekend. So at the house I keep these two plastic buckets, and I put all my kitchen scraps in them, as you can see there. I keep these away from the kitchen with these lids on them. The lids, you'll notice, have 4 little holes, also just enough to keep the system aerobic, keep it from going anaerobic. And so on the weekends I come over here. First I dump whatever liquid is in here out, because I don't need to add any more liquid to my bins. If I do, I like to spray it on with a fine mist, not pour it on. And then I chop it up. Depends on how much time I have. Sometimes I don't chop it up. Then I keep another bin for my coffee grounds, and that's just because I don't like mixing my coffee grounds with the veggies, because it just makes it very messy when you come to the part where you chop it all up. So anyway, what I do is I dig a hole in the bin like I just did, like you just saw me do, and then I dump the scraps in the hole, and then I cover it up with the same vermicompost. So I'm going to do that right now. The camera is going to go off for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, so that's it. That's basically it. So actually, I dump more. I have more material to dump in there, but I'm just making this video for demonstration purposes. So then I just cover it back up. you want your bins to have about a 60-70% moisture content. I could be a little off there, but that's about what you want. You want it to be like a wrung out sponge. And this bin is just fine. I mean, I've gotten used to kind of knowing whether it's moist enough, and this is definitely fine. So anyway, then I just cover it back up, and I do the same thing with my other bin, just right here. This bin, let's dig around in here, take a look. But the worms will, within a day or two after you've disturbed the bed, since they're constantly eating and moving around, within a day or two it's all settled down, kind of like what you just saw when I first opened this bin. But you can see the worms in there. Got eggshells in here. Those take longer, but eggshells have calcium in them, which is good for, supposed to promote reproduction of the worms, although I think the worms kind of self-regulate their production based on the amount of food available and the amount of waste, of their own waste, that they're living in. Eventually you do have to separate the worms from the compost and then go use the compost. The worms don't like living in their own waste any more than most other organisms. But there you go. You can see there's a really good concentration of worms in here. So anyway, I'm going to do the same with this bin as I just did with the other bin, and that's basically the end of the video. But these bins, normally, they're in this outdoor area, and I put the lids on, and they sit underneath this sink right there, and that's it. And I've had them like this for over a year now, and the system works great. I have harvested quite a bit of vermicompost out of here. I guess I'll do a video at some other point when I separate them. And then I use the vermicompost in the wicking beds. So anyway, hope this helps somebody that's maybe considering setting up a worm farm for the first time, and get somebody started.